Coming up, striking hard at Hezbollah in Lebanon and shocking evidence for continued support for Hamas among Palestinians. Plus, Itamar Marcus from the Palestinian Media Watch with a reality check about the proposed two-state solution. And bringing hope to the wounded, Nick Vujicic encouraging soldiers at Sheba Medical Center. All this and more coming up on this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. Hello and welcome to this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. I'm Julie Stahl. While Israel's battle continues in the Gaza Strip, the new focus seems to be shifting to the north. As attacks from Hezbollah escalate, Israel is striking back hard. As Hezbollah launched another wave of rockets and drones with explosives into northern Israel, setting off sirens, Israeli forces have been striking back. As the battles heat up, Iran's new acting foreign minister warned Israel not to launch a war, saying ramifications could backfire against Zionists. And he said Israel would find itself in a quagmire if it launches a full-blown war against Hezbollah in Lebanon, which he called the cradle of resistance. Iraq's foreign minister added,
"If an attack occurs in Lebanon, then this will have an impact on the entire region."
Meanwhile, the Israel Defense Forces is recommending to wrap up the Rafah operation quickly in Gaza in order to prepare for a wider war against Hezbollah in Lebanon. This comes as the Iranian-backed group has upped its strikes against Israel to hundreds a day. Fires broke out in the Golan Heights and elsewhere in northern Israel, as well as in Lebanon from the increased activity in the Middle East dry season. The IDF troops have been carrying out exercises training for combat in the northern arena for the past 2 weeks. Meanwhile, in Gaza, Israeli forces located a Hamas tunnel shaft in Rafah that led to the terrorists' underground compound, as well as large quantities of weapons after terrorists emerged from a building firing at them. President Biden reiterated that Hamas is standing in the way of a ceasefire agreement.
I've laid out an approach that has been endorsed by the UN Security Council, by the G7, by the Israelis, and the biggest hang-up so far is Hamas refusing to sign on, even though they have submitted something similar.
A Hamas official admitted to CNN no one has any idea how many Israeli hostages are still alive, saying, "You have to remember not only Hamas took hostages on October 7th, so did other terrorists." Meanwhile, a new poll by the Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research shows 67% of Palestinians believe Hamas' brutal October 7th attack was the correct thing to do. 97% say Israel has committed war crimes, while only 9% believe Hamas has committed war crimes. And 71% of Palestinians believe Hamas should still rule the Gaza Strip after the war. The idea of a two-state solution with Israel and a Palestinian state has been around a long time, almost 100 years. Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell spoke about this and the concept of a revitalized Palestinian Authority with Itamar Marcus from Palestinian Media Watch.
Itamar Marcus, founder of Palestinian Media Watch. On Monday, the UN Security Council resolution called for a two-state solution with Gaza and the West Bank under the Palestinian Authority. What's your reaction?
Well, obviously horrified by this kind of an option. We saw the October 7th massacre by Hamas, which was a direct result of Palestinian Authority education, not Hamas education. Palestinian Authority has been creating the messages throughout the Palestinian Authority, throughout Gaza, and responsible for education since 1994, and this is the result. The Palestinian Authority makes it clear what their goals are. Their education is very clear. Why would the international community, why would the UN want to create an Iran-like state all around Israel, in both Judea and Samaria and the Gaza Strip? It would be a tragedy for Israel. It would be a recipe for endless wars, and I don't even want to think of the number of casualties from such a situation.
Could you see the Palestinian Authority actually overseeing both Gaza and the West Bank?
First of all, they couldn't do that because Hamas, the UN's calling for a ceasefire. Hamas still has half of its terrorists. They still have the leadership. You've still got Yahya Sinwar, who's their leader there. You've still got Mohammed Deif, who's another leader. You've got all the horrific people who planned October 7th. So they would just build up a terrorist organization again. If the Palestinian Authority tried to establish itself, their officers and officials would be killed immediately, as has happened apparently already. So it's like talking about putting a Palestinian Authority or an American organization to run the moon right now.
The U.S. State Department is once a revitalized Palestinian Authority. In your view, has it or is it being revitalized? It's a farce because the world is, and then the United States welcomed and said they hope it has more transparency and less corruption. Well, let me tell you, the problem is not transparency and corruption. The problem is that the Palestinian Authority teaches its people that Israel has no right to exist, that killing Jews is something that Allah wants, that destroying Israel is not only a national goal for Palestinians, but is also a goal for Islam because Israel is on holy Islamic land. These are the things that have to be changed in the Palestinian Authority. And we haven't seen any indication of any change at all in the new government. I'll just point out 2 of the new ministers have tremendous terror support in their background. There's the Minister of Women's Affairs, who right after October 7th made a speech that Palestinians have a right to defend themselves. She also appeared after October 7th at an event glorifying and honoring imprisoned terrorists, including terrorist murderers. One of them, Ibrahim Hamad, who's serving 56 life sentences, and she's standing next to his poster honoring him. And she's a new minister for Women's Affairs, and the Minister for Religious Affairs in the Palestinian Authority, who's part of this quote-unquote revitalized government, a number of years back spoke about the Jews being descendants of monkeys and pigs, destined for torture, and then he called on Palestinians to be the ones who torture the Jews, on behalf of Allah. There is nothing different in essence. In fact, the statements and the ideology that the Palestinian Authority has been expressing since the new government has been formed is every much as bad as it has always been, and possibly even worse.
Coming up, hope and encouragement for wounded Israeli soldiers. Close to 4,000 Israeli soldiers have been wounded since October 7th, many with life-changing injuries. Recently, a special guest encouraged them to not let those changes ruin their lives.
When we look different, we are the ones that everyone looks at. And so the fact that we still exist, the fact that we sometimes smile, the fact that we keep on going out there are many people who say, wow, if he didn't give up, then I'm not going to give up.
Here at Sheba Medical Center, they've treated many of the soldiers wounded in the war since October 7th. Some have even lost limbs. Today, they had a very special visitor.
Today was amazing to be with the wounded soldiers here. You know, my mum was a nurse, and so I have compassion for the doctors and nurses here as well, ministering to the needs of those here and families affected. I think for such a time as this, it's very important for us to show up and show the support and love and plant seeds of light and faith into everyone here.
International speaker Nick Vujicic told CBN News he felt humbled and inspired after speaking to the wounded soldiers.
I had several conversations with a couple people privately and then also in a small group setting, and it was a time that I think was very encouraging for them deeply, and it's wonderful to see hope in their eyes as well.
It's given me a perspective to see that, okay, everything is okay. I just lost one limb, but if Nick got a career and an amazing family, there's no any reason that I won't get it too.
After serving 91 days fighting inside the Gaza Strip, 23-year-old Omri Rosenblatt was severely wounded while trying to dismantle bombs, and an explosion brought a house down on him.
Actually, all the house got collapsed in house. Like you see, like the movies of the earthquakes in Nepal. this is how it looked.
Although mostly buried under the rubble, Omri managed to signal rescuers. They pulled him out and rushed him to hospital.
The doctor and the team commander and all of my guys was 100% sure, all of them, that I'm not gonna make it.
Although Omri survived, he had severe burns. Doctors amputated his left leg and had to piece together his right leg. Listening to Nick gave him hope.
It gives a lot of motivation because Nick is a great talker and give a lot of examples from his life. And as an amputated guy, I can feel it closer to me. It's amazing.
Simcha Greeneman is deputy commander of Zaka International, the volunteer search and rescue service heavily involved in treating the wounded and helping recover the dead since October 7th. Greeneman met Nick in the U.S. and helped arrange this special meeting.
We spoke about the whole situation and we said that we would like to come see the soldiers so he could really give them some courage and strength to continue doing whatever they're doing and to give them a lively spiritual way to live and to continue their life.
Greeneman admired the soldiers' response to Nick's encouragement.
It was beautiful, what they said, and right away how much courage and how much feeling close to him, that he was born that way, but their life changed in the middle of their life by understanding that life never finishes, that life does not end by this. As you can see, beautiful family that he has, wife and kids, and life is beautiful.
Nick wants Israelis to know they are not alone, and America is not their savior.
And even though it feels lonely to be Israel right now, I, as a U.S. citizen, am very horrified of generally the West and what we're allowing people to say without really understanding what's going on. We're talking about evil, we're talking about terrorism, we're talking about people that their only mission in life basically is to kill the Jews and the Christians. And I think this is a very important time for the Christians and the Jewish people to come together, to align, to pray.
While Omri doesn't know what's next for him, he says maybe he'll follow Nick's example. He also urges those who hate Israel to think about what they are saying and doing.
A little bit about the truth, not only what there is in social media, because all the social media and the media is influenced by money and those things and by terror and blood money. Please come to Israel. Please come speak with me. I think I'm a really nice guy.
Greeneman says it's encouraging to see people stand with Israel at this time.
Just the hug to know that so many people are behind us as Am Yisrael, getting the support of being there, hugging us. That's something that we can continue doing whatever we're doing with a strong mind and understanding that nothing can stop us, as it says, never again.
Up next, helping the blind to see, one organization addressing misunderstandings about Israel and the Jewish people. Accuracy in reporting is the gold standard we're all taught in journalism school. But in these days of politicized information, that can go out the window. Chris Mitchell interviewed Tricia Miller from the media watchdog organization Camera, founded to track accuracy in Middle East reporting.
Tricia Miller, great to be with you. You're with Camera. Can you explain what Camera is?
Yes, I can, and thank you, Chris, for having me on. Camera stands for the Committee for Accuracy in Middle East Reporting and Analysis. It's a media watch organization, the oldest, started in 1982, monitoring everything going on in the Middle East, specifically about Israel.
Yeah, and why are you part of that organization?
As a Christian, I am following especially everything going on in the Christian world in general, the evangelical world in particular, to monitor everything going on in the church in relation to Israel and anti-Semitism.
And over your years with Camera, what have you found in the media?
The mainstream media grossly distorts anything in relation to Israel and the Jewish people. Anti-Semitism in particular. They distort it through omission of facts and misleading headlines, false pictures, lies, and so Camera corrects the lies.
Yeah, and what kind of impact have you had?
A great impact, and since October 7th, an even greater impact, because with the media turning on Israel even more since October 7th, all of our analysts have been working literally around the clock and answering and refuting and contacting editors, contacting reporters, and getting a record number, more corrections than ever from major outlets.
So what happened on October 7th? How did the media sort of go exponentially in what they were doing?
Well, they, you know, the major assault on Israel that happened in the first day or two, pretty much people in the world, the media, even world governments said, oh, this is horrible. But within a day or two, the world literally turned, including the media, turned on Israel before Israel had even gone into Gaza. But they turned on Israel, and somehow Israel became the bad guy. And there were justifications being offered as to why the terrorists were justified in doing what they did, the atrocities they did.
And denial as well?
Denial, yes. Denial and accusations that Israel made it up, or that some of these scenes were created by AI, when in fact, most of the coverage we have of that day is from the terrorist cameras themselves. But people are not willing to believe it.
Yeah. And what examples can you cite of some of the major media that's really turning on Israel?
The New York Times, the BBC, Washington Post, and some here in Israel as well.
And what kind of impact does that have on the church?
Unfortunately, a horrible impact, because a lot of Christians only listen to the mainstream media. And when I'm talking to them, I tell them they need to listen to you because you present the facts. But the mainstream media is intentionally distorting what happened that day.
Yeah, well, we try. We're trying to report accurately.
You're doing a great job, and the Christian world really needs you. And Christians need to be watching you. But if they're only watching mainstream media, they're getting the wrong impression of Israel.
Yeah. Is there a sense within pastors or the churches that they don't want to touch this subject, they don't want to address Israel, and they don't want to be too political?
Right. A lot of pastors, a lot of the work I do is to reach out to pastors, to speak in churches, to educate them. And the response I get from a number of pastors, unfortunately too many, they don't want to touch this subject because it's political. And I say, this is not political, this is biblical. Israel, the Jewish people, are a biblical issue for Christians.
So if there was a pastor out there watching right now, what would you tell them?
That they need to be telling their people to watch you. They need to have people like me in their church to educate them about the facts. When I speak, I go through the biblical, all the way from Genesis to Revelation. Why do we support the Jewish people? What does God say about the Jewish people? What is his heart for them? And what are his plans for this restored nation of Israel? These are the ancient Jewish people who have come back to their ancient homeland, and people in the church need to understand our intimate connection as Christians to the Jewish people and to Israel.
And if pastors want to know more about you, how can they find out more about you and Camera?
They can go to Camera's website, is www.camera.org. They can email me at Tricia@camera.org. You have to spell it Tricia at camera.org.
Still ahead. On the front lines in the information war, Yechiel Jacobs dropping comic truth bombs. There are more people than IDF soldiers fighting for Israel right now. Some even live outside the country, fighting anti-Israel hate with comedy. Internet sensation Yechiel Jacobs is on the offensive in the info war and doesn't suffer fools lightly. Take a look.
Our day will come, but we must not be complacent. Our day will come, but we must normalize massacres as the status quo. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great speech, by the way. I love how you carried the crowd. What did he just say? What did he just say? Gen Z Hitler just gave a speech on a stage in front of the entire planet saying that we gotta normalize massacres, and everybody's like, yeah, it's a great idea. What the heck is wrong with these people? And we're the ones on trial for genocide?
Yechiel Jacobs, great to be with you. Can you give us the accent?
How you doing? It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're great. We're big fans. You're a Jewish student on a college campus, and you're getting all this persecution, anti-Semitism. What advice would you give to them?
First, get pepper spray. Second, advice I would give is it's a tricky situation because what's going on the college campuses is absolutely crazy. But number one is to not be afraid. I think that's super important because the second you're afraid, what they're doing is effective. So it's important to stand strong, be confident in what it is that you believe in. Don't be irresponsible and go crazy, but it's important to stand up for what you believe in and continue pushing for the truth. So I think that's super important to continue pushing and not be afraid.
Yeah, and the way you communicate truth by humor is really effective. Yeah. So people, do they write you and say, well done, or we follow you, or?
Yeah, so thank God I've gotten a tremendous amount of love. I also got a lot of hate from the other side, but I got overall a tremendous amount of love. I have a lot of support. Probably one of the most meaningful messages I get from people is, I have not laughed since October the 7th, and thanks to you, I have a smile on my face. So that's something, to me, it's like, I'm never going to stop doing what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah. Where do you get your, I know you get your material from TikTok, and you just take some time and think, oh, this is how I'm going to react to that?
Yeah, so I normally I watch a video, I'm like, oh, this is crazy, I need to do a response. I'll go in the car and be like, how you guys doing? I'll be like in the car, and then as I'm doing the video, I'll come up with some more ideas I want to add. And then as I'm doing the video, I'll add those ideas, and it'll just kind of form itself, and, you know, just see what happens. Just kind of go.
Where does the hitting the phone come from?
The anger. I'm just so angry. I'm just kidding. I don't know, it just felt right. It's like, when I'm doing my videos, all the choreography, it just kind of happens. It's just natural, you know? Yeah. So when I feel like I need to hit the camera, when it's like an important message, I'll hit the camera, you know?
And whose voice are you using?
So there's a comedian called Sebastian Maniscalco, hilarious guy. So I kind of do like an exaggerated version of him. That's who I'm using, yeah.
And it's a New York accent, it comes naturally.
Yeah, it's from New York, Italian.
Yeah, I'm from Boston, so I can get the...
oh, so you can relate.
Yeah, I do relate. Yeah, that's great. Any New Yorkers stop you on the street and say...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, it's great. A lot of people, thank God I've met people that are a fan and not the other side. So it's been good. In Israel and in New York, a lot of support, taking pictures of the people and meeting people. It's been an unbelievable experience so far.
Yeah, have you worked with the Israeli government coming here?
Yeah, so actually I was brought down here by Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They brought me down here and a few other influencers on a delegation, which has been amazing and very insightful and very meaningful. And I'm honored that they brought me here. I'm really honored to be here and to use my platform to spread awareness.
Sure. Talk about the battlefield. I mean, there's a battlefield going on in Gaza, up in the northern border as well. But what's it like to be on the social media battlefield? You're really on the front lines.
Yeah, so it's definitely a battlefield, and right now I think Israel's coming to the realization how important it is. And I know from what I've seen, they're starting to put a lot more effort into PR and to social media. The battlefield, it's intense, and also it gets a little tricky because you don't want to be preaching to the choir. You know, like I'm putting out all those videos, but how do I know that it's not, you know, going to the same people over again? I think that's why my content is so unique, because since I'm using humor, everybody likes to laugh. So even people that wouldn't necessarily be interested in Israel or this topic, they're finding a funny video, they're gonna watch it and they're gonna laugh, but they walk away knowing a little bit more about what's really happening and what's really going on in Israel. So that's a little uniqueness about my content.
Can you give us a little of the accent, maybe a little...
Absolutely. I'll leave you guys off with a message. Okay, Israel, it's one of the smallest countries on planet Earth, okay? But the truth is, we're one of the biggest families on planet Earth also. So that's a message, is continue, you know, supporting each other, being together, and have a good day, and get a job if you can. If you need to get a job, get a job. That's what I'll leave you with.
That's all for this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on social media and access our content through our CBN News and other CBN apps. And don't forget to sign up for our email blasts. Please keep praying for protection for Israel, IDF soldiers, the release of the hostages, for those caught in harm's way, and for the peace of Jerusalem. And remember, the God who's watching over Israel and you and me neither slumbers nor sleeps. I'm Julie Stahl. We'll see you next time on Jerusalem Dateline.